Hello, friends. It's Chapo.
Yes. Next question.
Yeah.
Hello, Chapo Trap House podcast. This is Max. I'm a long-time listener, first-time caller. I'm sure everybody's made that fucking joke, but what I want to know is what each of your favorite chip is. Let's say you go to the chip aisle at Kroger or, the bodega or wherever. What kind of chip are you getting? Let me know your chip of choice. Thank you.
Very good question. Very good question.
Yes, very good question.
All right. Who wants to kick this off? I'm thinking for a second here. Okay, I'm gonna give you a couple things. I have sort of like there are regional chips, and for me, the regional chip that I grew up with and that I still love. I think it's a top tier chip. Many people outside the New York City area do not like them, but I like the Utz chips.
Utz it up.
I like an Utz, like sort of like the ridged sour cream and onion. I will say that another chip I'm a big fan of is the Lay's sour cream and cheddar chips.
That's a good chip.
I will say though, the chip that I think is too highly rated, and I'm sort of like down on all chips of this variety, is the kettle style chip.
Ooh, shots fired.
Yeah, I'm not really feeling them. I think they're a little too hard. A little too sharp. They cut up my soft little mouth. But then again, I used to really like Cape Cod chips. But I think the Cape Cod chip quality has fallen off. I don't know. Maybe they've been bought by some European consortium. But yeah, I like the classic ridged chip. But
Ridged chip, love it.
I like the sour cream and onion, sour cream and cheddar. Like I think those are good chip varieties of most standard brands.
Chris, what are your feelings on Grippos? Cincinnati's own Grippos chips.
They're fine.
They're very cakey. I don't like them.
Yes. The texture is a little difficult for me to get into, but
not a
okay.
fan. You know what? There's a bunch I like, and I'm a big fan of certain specialty chips. Some of them are sadly no longer on the market. Like Lay's did a promotion where they had a bunch of different wacky styles. They had a Euro one that was really good. They had a Korean barbecue that was great. They had a fried chicken and biscuits and gravy. They had a biscuits and gravy chip that was fantastic. But sadly, those are all gone. U.S. We have the worst, by the way, of the Anglosphere, we have the absolute worst chip technology. How does the snack capital of the world, how does the gorging hole of humanity have such meager fucking chip options? We don't even have all dressed in
Where's
this
our
country.
all dressed?
Where's our
Those
all
are really
dressed?
good. The Lay's all dressed are wonderful.
And the ketchup's flavored chips too. Also, Canada, superior. Britain, superior. All the Asian countries, get out of here. They got like a jamon iberico chip in fucking Spanish Lays, for God's sake. But I would say that my warhorse, the one I crave when I walk by the aisle and most likely to grab on a impulse, sour cream and onion Pringles.
Interesting.
I like the Pringle. I know it's not technically a potato chip according to English common law, but I still enjoy it a great deal.
Matt, do you remember when you almost made us all victims of sectarian violence in Dublin when you
oh my God
made fun
they
of
were
Mr.
ready to
Tato?
fucking roll a car bomb up to us.
Yeah, they were breaking out the Armalite. They're pulling on the balaclava. We're talking
They love
shit
their
about
Tatos up
They
there.
love the Mr. Tato.
What I found out though is that there's two different Mr. Tatos
in Northern Ireland and the Republic of.
Yeah. That's amazing. They've got a fucking Protestant and a Catholic potato man. That's how That's how dedicated they were to that project for so long.
I don't really like chips that much.
Of course not.
You have more of a sweet tooth, right?
Yeah.
Well, okay. To keep it in the realm of potato snacks, a potato chip is as bad for you, if not a little bit worse for you than fries. The fries are bad for you not because they're potato, but because of the fried surface area. That's why smaller cut fries are higher in caloric content and fat than larger, the big
steak fries.
Surface
steak
area.
fries. Yeah. So, I mean, if I'm eating a fried potato, I'd rather have fries, which are on average about as bad for you and much more fun. And if I'm just eating something bad, I'd rather have ice cream, a cake, or a candy.
Do you guys have any feelings strongly for or against salt and vinegar chips?
I feel like they got overplayed.
No.
I feel like they kind of are like IPA to me. They're like the IPAs of chips. They got super hyped. They became the standard. And I like them in certain circumstances. I think the salt and vinegar chip is an ideal chip for putting on like an Italian style hoagie for crunch.
Ooh, for crunch?
Yeah, like you got some oil and then you put salt and vinegar chips on, like a one of those Jimmy John's subs with the salami and such, now we're talking. But just to eat out of a bag, it's a little too.
It's a little too, yeah.
Those suck. No, those fucking suck. Those are like something that a Scottish person would eat.
Yes, very Scottish.
Matt, I do agree with that.
Yeah.
That's
The
why I like the
disgusting
Utz
crap
chips
they
though,
eat.
because they're softer. I think they're really good for adding to sandwiches, and you just press the bread down.
Yes,
You just get a nice
exactly.
crunchy layer on that.
And you could possibly
spice up
put it on
any
the sandwich and then deep fry it, laddie.
What an ugly, ugly people.
Oh, hideous.
Very, very nice though.
Yeah,
Thank
wonderful.
you for the potato chip question, listener. All right, one more question, guys.
Yeah, let's do one more. What do you guys like? One on college, one on future casting presidential elections, or one on Berlin techno clubs?
Let's do college.
College. All right, here we go.
Animal house.
Here we go. All right. From listener Madeline.
Hello. My question is, even though you guys are fairly anti-college, which is a sentiment that I agree with, do you think the liberal arts are valuable to study? The great books and that sort of thing, studying literature and art history. If the university is the wrong venue for that because of what Americans have done with it or because of how it's structured nowadays, where do you think a good venue for learning that sort of stuff is and why?
Okay, I have a thought of this. I have an idea. We need to destroy college and get rid of it. People are like, whoa, what do you replace it with? It does valuable work. I understand that some subjects are capital intensive enough to require like a fixed asset to study around, and you might have a few regional facilities that do that kind of advanced stuff. But in my mind, college classes would be free and available in the community you live in, of all topics, and that you would pick, that you would educate yourself, and then there would be skill trade learning as part of that, but also the liberal arts and every other fucking thing. But there would be no colleges.
Yeah, no. To Madeline's point, I'm a huge fan of the liberal arts, of the study of art, literature, history, and I don't think you can be regarded as educated without some exposure to a liberal arts education, and like you can be. I'm not saying like the sciences or highly skilled technical fields are not worthwhile. Obviously not. But there's a reason why, let's say, most engineers and doctors are a billion times smarter than I am in many ways, but I still regard them as uncultured dullards. I mean, I think they're genuinely people because they have an incredibly highly technical skill that takes an insane amount of education and discipline to get you to the point of having one skill that like only a handful of people have. That's very useful to society. But essentially, that's why I don't think their opinions are valid on anything outside of brain surgery.
Yeah,
or,
get it out of here.
Constructing
You're sacrificing. You have to. Your education is a D&D build. These guys all min-maxed, as they say, and that means that their other counters are fucking empty. And you need those. You need people with those counters.
Have you guys noticed, actually, just over this last week, people have been pointing this out, particularly among crypto people, the astonishing hostility they have to reading books.
The very concept of reading infuriates them.
Well, I mean, look, the proof is in the pudding. It's there. This is what not reading books leads to. This is what being very, very smart in quotation marks and like looking at numbers and data and markets and all that shit. This is what it leads to.
Yep.
Is obliterating billions of dollars of wealth in just petty frauds and scams. If you do not read literature on your own, if you do not seek out books and art that you are interested in engaging with, that like takes some mental lifting on your part to engage with, like, I don't think you're an intelligent person. I don't think you should be regarded as intelligent, nor do I think you should be given any kind of real authority in our society.
Absolutely. You're a fucking hunchback. You're a freak. Get out of here. You've warped yourself into a mutant through intellectual onanism. I want to say though, some people say, oh, if you did that, you don't have that camaraderie and like coming into adulthood feeling of going to college.